and we are ending the day with a discussion about AI in manufacturing. And my first question is, what is your favorite AI use case in the industrial sector you realized, or you have seen, or you are dreaming of? Who wants to start, Jan?
So yeah, obviously it's a vision use case. Out of my head, yeah. For example, I really like our pallet classification system. So yeah, if you have pallets in your production, they are often reusable. So there is a yeah, in German a fund, yeah, a deposit, and you have to balance your yeah, your account at the end of the day or at the end of the week. And yeah, we are able to automate them with classification. So even if there is a lot of wear and tear on the pallets, we are still able to very reliable with percentages well above 99% identify between a Euro pallet, a Czech pallet, and whatever. So that's what I really like, where really the power of AI comes comes to the surface. And in the end, yeah, for the user, it's just a simple item number that he can order, and it's already let's say all embedded in the system. Yeah.
Okay. Danny?
Yeah. There's so many opportunities. It's hard to pick one, but I'm going to go back to the generative AI example. So my passion is democratizing machine learning for the larger, user base, which to me is everyone in the companies that we have here. So if you think about it, there's a tremendous amount of knowledge buried within desktops, corporate databases, everywhere, right? I mean, if you think about it, standard operating procedures, work instructions, every time you do a root cause analysis, you document it. Every time you do maintenance on a system, you put it in a maintenance ticket. Now, all those data sources are scattered everywhere, but just imagine if you could just ask questions of those data sources. So to me, my favorite use case is the one that's easiest. It's low-hanging fruit. Just enable asking questions of those data sources, and the humans will do the rest. So that's my thought on that.
Okay. You want to go on?
Yes, I think I want to go on. So we realized a project with our MyLab software that I already showed you in the presentation, and yeah, it was in Eastern Europe, a floorboard factory, and they were already working on a very high standard, and yeah, there were happening some mistakes, and then they had to throw out the whole line of the whole floorboard, and it is a very long process, so they had to throw away much of the product. And yeah, by implementing our MyLab software, we were able to reduce these errors by 5%, and these 5% made a huge difference. Yeah, it made millions of a difference for the company. So yeah, that's one of the projects that I had in mind.
Joachim?
Yes, right. So I am with Jan, honestly, because vision sensors, they are an application which have a benefit right now. So as I mentioned in HARTING, we have a lot of high volume production where you need to check the quality in a very high speed. This typically is done by cameras, vision camera systems, and it was in the past always a big challenge to set them up to each different failure which is appearing. And yeah, with that vision camera system, with that AI, this is really fully easy possible. And then the very nice thing is, it's a very nice example that AI is not in all cases competing with human beings. Yeah, it's a very nice thing. It's cooperating. Yeah, because at the end of the day, the people who set up the camera, and even today without AI, they don't look at each picture. Yeah, surely not. And with AI, they also do not. But the AI makes it more easy to make the setup, and that's, from my point of view, really a very easy to grab example. Yeah.
Okay, Theo, you want to go on? Your favorite AI project use case?
Oh, that's a private one. We heard in the keynote like the full matrix of industrial use cases. So I thought, let's share a private one. I got a combinatorics puzzle for Christmas, and I wasn't able to fix it by myself. So I thought, okay, let's solve this with brute force. And I came up with a Python code. It was buggy. GPT-4 helped me to improve it, and then it was too slow because it was written in Python. So I'm not a C programmer, but together with generative AI, I put this on my workstation, fully parallelized, fully optimized, and it then in the end was 10 to the power of 12 faster than before. And there I realized, okay, wow, what if as a PhD student and as a researcher or as an ML engineer in the industry, I would have had access to such a technology? Because what we are currently always discussing is how much resources do we waste by using AI, but how much resources can we save by writing efficient code? And if you think about this, each PLC consumes energy when executing code. Think about it. The impact, the global impact is enormous.
But the large language model are also consuming a lot of energy at the moment.
True. But in the end, like the language model was not part of my solution in the end. It is not part of the PLC code in the end, but it can help you to improve the energy efficiency of a PLC code that then runs for 40 years.
Yeah. Your preferred use case?
I would like to add another one that I really enjoyed. Now, it was some time ago. It was an audio use case within a transportation system manufacturer, and the idea was they figured out so their workforce is getting older, and there are a lot of people going to into pension and into retirement, but they are very skilled people. So, for example, they hear a mistake somewhere running in their machine. So what the solution is to place microphones within the system, teach an algorithm on, okay, this is a good sound, this is a bad sound, and whenever some failure might occur, there was a notification, hey, have a look on this specific pump or whatever.
Danny, you mentioned in the morning the phrase foundation model or the foundation models. Do we will see foundation models for vision, for simulation, and maybe that's a business use case then for SIG to use these foundation models or to establish or to invent these foundation models? Do we will see all over the whole industry different foundation models?
So yes and no. Let me tell you why I say both. So right now there are different types of generative AI models, right? There's text to text, there's text to image, there's multimodal. But I think what you're getting at is what I would call an industry domain model. And so here's the opportunity is great for this. Here's the challenge. These models are built on data.
Yes.
They already have all of the internet. So what's left? All of your data out there. Now, are you going to share your data so that we can build an industry model? That may be tough.
Domain specific on vision, on simulation, on robots.
Yeah, I think so. I think those are already in progress. But if you want, let's say we have here's an example. So there's so there's standards around communication, right? So I see a communication large language model or foundation model being created. In fact, there's progress on this now. But PLC. So PLC is proprietary information depending on the provider. So do we see all of the competitive providers going in with PLC standards? Maybe. Let's see. I think it's an interesting topic. Let's see how cooperative we can be as an entire community.
I think 4 weeks ago I went to a conference and there was a guy from Presto talking about their AI vision, and the claim of the presentation was, can machines build machines? And the idea was, is it possible to use AI in the engineering process? And then this Sora model came out, and I think it was very interesting because it was very near to the reality when it comes to wind or waves. I don't know if you know the video with the ship in the coffee cup, and is that also changing the engineering process, Theo, when it comes to Gen AI?
The Sora example is a very good one, because what it can do is it can resemble a scenery where you have a ship in water and it looks like water, but there is no finite element simulation done. And this is a big difference. No one cares when watching a movie. Everyone cares when constructing a supersonic jet. So therefore, you have to be careful. Nevertheless, if you combine the right technology like generative AI with traditional approaches, then you get a super powerful workflow to already speed up also the design and engineering parts. Definitely. But maybe not the way you might get suggested on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So when we talk about large language model, we talked about energy consumption, and we need everybody. In what I recognize when I talk to robot companies, for example, they always put a GPU next to the robot now because they need power next to the PLC. But this can't be the future, to put a GPU once again and then a second GPU and a third. I don't know what's happening. Do we need to talk about smaller models, less energy consumption models? What is your opinion from Mitsubishi?
I think in general we have to think about the energy savings, and we have to be more efficient. So the solution is not to just simply enhance everything and get to use even more power. So I think it is necessary that we have to keep in mind also, that we minimize our carbon footprint in the end.
So you mentioned you have a solution.
Maybe not a solution. What I see in the marketplace is there's this. So right now there's a tremendous amount of models available, right? There's proprietary models from OpenAI, from Anthropic, now from Mistral, available. There's public models like Llama from Meta's Facebook, right? There's open source models from 900,000 people, right? So you have this tremendous explosion of models. And remember, we're 18 months in from the first release of, something that caught the public's attention. So we're still learning as an industry. However, what I see is there's a consolidation towards needing the very best models, which are right now proprietary, and then needing small, tight, fast models that can be run efficiently for energy savings or just for, cost savings, right? And so you see specialized models, you see things like RAG architectures, which I talked about in the keynote. You see this push for a small, tight, efficient answer, including ones that run at an edge, right? And so people like NVIDIA have published, edge, models. You'll see that in things like automobiles or industrial settings, So I think you're seeing this evolution where we're getting better and we're optimizing. But, we're still experimenting too. So you have to finish the experimentation and understand what the best is before you can then start to optimize. But I think we're rapidly approaching that, and then in some cases already delivering on it.
Joachim, when you talk to your workforce, do they accept AI solution at the shop floor? Do you need to inform them more? Do you tell them you are in the lead to use it? Do you need a special user interface, user experience when it comes to working together with the AI? Do you have any ideas on that?
I think for sure it's a big step, to go more according to AI applications. So you need to take the people with you, otherwise it will not work. I would, because I'm working more in the office, I would more go to an office use case where, for example, we get so many in the product management, so many emails of customers, of maybe also of sales guys, asking questions which are somewhere answered, no matter if it's the e-catalog, if it's the web page or whatever. So I'm pretty convinced, and the team as well, that with those technologies we could make the life of us easier and answer certain questions much more quick. Maybe at the end of the day, again, with a worker double checking that what is sending out is corrected. But at least this part, so to say, pre-prepare an email, pre-prepare an answer, is really a part where we are really looking forward because it makes the life of us much more easy. Yeah.
What's your opinion, Theo, on UX and AI? How important is it? Because we saw ChatGPT 18 months. It was so fantastic because it had great UX, great usability for everybody. So is this the key to implement AI in the industrial sector? Have a good UX and a good usability?
Yes, and there are two sides of the medal. So during my presentation, I've shown two user interfaces actually. The one for the process designer, where like the experts and those who have access to the data really model what should the process look like. They need a good UX, but even more important is the frontline UX. And one of the biggest accomplishments of OpenAI is that they made it super simple to use. Also the GPT builder, from a technical perspective, I thought, hey, I can do this for a year now, but they did the better UX. This does the trick.
Yeah, absolutely. What are the next steps with SICK? What is the next big thing, AI thing by SICK?
Yeah, again, narrowing it down to sensors and using sensor data and vision data. Yeah, there are still a couple of, let's say, disciplines within AI that we really want to bring on the edge devices. Object detection is one thing for robot guidance application, counting application, identifying foreign objects in a batch of products. That's what we are working on. What's in let's say in the pipeline. So yeah, getting the technology even closer to the users, and as colleagues mentioned before, gaining trust within the group of users, not just or trying to make the black box a little bit more gray. I mean, we will never be able to fully explain it, but we can, let's say, take measures to make it more understandable, and that's what we are working on. Yeah.
And from a general perspective, what is the next big thing in AI? Who has an opinion on that? What is the next big thing?
Maybe I start a little bit more lower, on a lower level. The first, the pre-basis, yeah. So everything is about data. Yeah, it's with our social media things and so on. So everything is really about data. During the past couple of years with Industry 4.0 and so on, all companies seems to digitalize their machine, but the use case was somehow here and there. Okay, do I spend the money? What is the benefit and so on? So I think with this power of AI, the need to digitalize your machine data and to connect them maybe to the Ethernet world has become much more important than ever, because we all see the power and the use cases which afterwards can be generated. Yeah.
What is your next big thing at Mitsubishi?
The next big thing, that's a good question. I don't know if I can say anything to this now. I don't know. Maybe I can.
I can add something from the software part, from the platform part. So I think there are a lot of things coming for us, especially from us, from Iconics, which is Mitsubishi Electric Iconics, is we want to bring AI as a default into the platform, so that there is a anomaly detection by default or a predictive maintenance, and have it. It's an auto ML tool, right? Okay. And that we have like some. Maybe it might not be correct, but let's call it apps for now, so that you have several AI apps by default in your platform available, working together with MyLab, which is a super easy to use algorithm generator, intelligence generator, and then deploy it directly into the shop floor.
Okay, thanks. So my last question for this discussion is, think back 18 months. What was your first prompt? And what was your last prompt? What was your first prompt, Jan?
Can you define what you mean with prompt?
Prompting.
Okay, yeah.
What was your first prompt?
I was actually looking. I was actually asking a technical question about one of our products. So just checking. Okay. I know there is user manuals, there's instructions out there. Is it really implemented already? Is it really giving me the right answer? And I was mind blown pretty much how accurate it was, and also knowing how much time I would have spent, you know, researching that answer, yeah, by myself. And so that's, yeah.
What was your last prompt?
My last prompt was actually asking for a good phrase for a greetings card. That was, yeah, just giving a couple of hints and really
what
nice
was your
text.
first prompt, Danny?
I would say that my first real prompt was I wanted to see how accurate these systems could be with domain knowledge. And so the example I used in the keynote for reading fault codes off of an automobile, it's a real story, right? My daughter's car broke down. I plugged in the device. I got fault codes, P11, P12, P16, diagnostic trouble codes, you know, off the powertrain. And I wanted to see what the real answer was. But I had the manual, and I said, okay, let's see if we can ask questions of the manual. So that was my first real prompt. Clearly, there's lots of examples. My last prompt was last night. I asked if I could, like, I wrote a title and abstract for a session at Hanover Messe, and I just, you know, asked Gen AI to clean it up a bit and make it more concise. And so, you know, see you at Hanover. We'll see if it worked.
Yes, exactly. Joachim, what was your first prompt? Short answer, please.
Yeah, let me just think. First prompt was a technology-driven one. So single pair Ethernet is a new technology where I was curious. Okay, let's enter it. Yeah. The answer was amazingly good, I would say, for a new topic. That was my first one. The last one was, to be honest, as well. On yesterday, I have a presentation on the day after tomorrow as well, and I catch some further input. Yeah.
What was your first prompt and your last?
I think my first prompt was also something technical, but actually I'm using it quite often today. So now I don't really remember what the first prompt was. The last one was also basically asking for some inspiration for writing. I think it was a LinkedIn post.
Okay.
So
okay. Your first and your last?
So my first prompt was actually asking for if they know Iconics, and then I found out they do, and then I found that kind of funny because it was, sorry for the German, but it was 11.11. So I'm from Cologne, and we do Carnival, and so I asked it to translate that to Kölsch, and it actually does. So that was kind of funny. My last was actually a list for a meal prep for the week.
Okay. And your first and last, Theo?
I think the first one was a dad joke, classic one.
Yes.
And the last one was like half an hour ago, where I started to analyze the chat logs from the QR code that I posted to extract the most frequent questions.
Okay, thank you very much. It was a pleasure, guys. Stay on the stage because Kilian will close the day and stay online the whole week.
So, thank you all. So, I don't know if you're interested in my first prompt.
Yeah, what is your first prompt?
Because I'm a marketer, probably the only marketer. My first prompt, I used Leonardo AI.
Yeah.
And it created an image for Super Mario using industrial Ethernet.
Ah.
And I still have it in my presentation. It's looking great.
Okay,
so,
perfect.
Thank you all very much. Special thank to you, Robert. I brought you something.
Oh.
So, the most special merchandise. Very expensive, I can tell you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for guiding through the day.
Thank you.
And I think we learned a lot. It was a pleasure. Tomorrow, I will just emphasize a little bit for tomorrow. Tomorrow, we will learn a lot of how communication in the field level, on the factory level is working, and what is needed to bring all the data from the sensors, cameras, etc., up to cloud and edge devices to make the things we discussed today even happen at the end of the day. So looking forward to see you all tomorrow. Enjoy your meal, enjoy your dinner, wherever you are in the world. And I have one last thing, as usual, this needs to be. When we get off the screen, you will see a survey where we will ask you, okay, how real do you think after the day we had today, industrial AI and the use cases are? Is it still a hype? Is it still like for a super cool community like us here a thing? Or is it even more thing also for you on your daily work? So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you everybody on the stage. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thank you.